You guys mind starting like we did last time with a quick introduction? Everyone come up and say your name and kind of what you're working on and what you hope to learn, either tonight or just what you're focusing on in your own studies. So I'm Todd Hale. I work for Verisk Exactware full time. Excuse me. Good dinner at Firehouse Subs, and yeah. But on the side, I like to spend a lot of time with Ionic, and I also teach part-time here at MTech. We thank MTech for hosting. Amazing, great resource we have here. Last month, we did it in conjunction with Utah Tech Week, and I think we had close to 25 people here, and a good crowd. But I know we'll have some latecomers here as well. But we're recording online, and afterwards I'll trim off the edges and get the presentation nice and lean on YouTube. You can look for Ionic Utah on YouTube and find us there. I don't know, lately, what have I been focusing on? I mean, I do have a side gig that is doing React. They're kind of on an older version and on some kind of Elixir stack, Vercel stuff, and yeah, so that was interesting. Pick up React and play with that a little bit. I still haven't gotten all the use effect stuff all down and figured out. Got some weird things going on in my little proof of concept design that I did for them. But anyways, yeah, I love rapid application development. I've been interested in that since way back when. Always loved visual tools. Hey, old friend, good to see you. Make sure you grab some dinner, sandwiches and salads over there. And we're gonna take turns right now. Everyone coming up here, standing in front of this because we're on camera. Just come up, say your name, where you work, and what you're most interested in learning. Ben, you mind starting? Our stand-up portion.
So, I'm Ben Callahan. I work for Edigy, a fintech company here in Lehigh. I love Ionic and Angular. I use it a lot in my personal projects, though I haven't had too much time to work on them lately. But at work, I've been exploring some new concepts, at least to me, doing a lot of continuous integration, doing a lot of open telemetry, and yeah, just trying to figure out how to make all these different services fit together.
So I'm Dan Roper. I am also into fintech. So I'm just kind of between gigs right now. I'm looking at using Ionic for a embedded platform for Android and Apple, just to do some Bluetooth connectivity with some devices that measure water quality. And in my spare time, I'm just like, I have a database that I've developed that's kind of in between a graph database and a vector database that does a lot of informatics, and so that's kind of what I do in my spare time. Thanks.
So my name is Alfie Madsen, and I'm currently working for as a contractor for a company called Everybody's Learning. It's basically a math facts learning app. And that app is in React, which is the first project I've been working on that's in React. And I currently don't have a project in mind or that I'm working on, but I have a couple of them in mind. Some of which are old projects, but some of which are new. And unfortunately, they're also a little on the ambitious side, so sometimes it could be a little daunting to sit down and actually start them.
Hi there, I'm Makran. I'm in this field for about 7-8 years now, front-end React. And this is my second time in Ionic, and I was blown away last time by MacArthur. Corey, I forgot his name. Corey MacArthur. Yeah, and he inspired me to start off getting his GitHub, cloning it, and I'm still following it and trying to clone some of his projects. It's amazing, and I'm also interested in Python on side. I really like looking at charts and data, so I thought Python would be good. This was 10 years ago. I was with R and Python, and I do dabble a little bit in that. So that's my hobby.
Hi, my name is Arlie. I'm self-employed. I have two apps that I'm working on. One is, I think I did a quick presentation here before, which is Arlie Form. I'm still working on that one. And I'm also working on my transportation business, which is Arlie Mo. And that one is React Native. And working on that and see how it goes.
So I'm Steve. I've been out to this group before. It's a great group. And I saw we were meeting again, and I thought I'd come back and refresh old acquaintances. And I'm currently working for a Japanese company, and we use React in our tech stack. And I'm torturing my son by bringing him. I don't think he has to come up, but he can if he wants.
Want to come up? Yeah, tell us what you're doing. What interests you?
My name is Michael. I'm the one being tortured, apparently. Fairly new, but I am excited I have the opportunity to come over and just learn more about it. Learn more. Just
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, excellent, excellent. And see if we get a couple more trickling in. Let me see. How about online? Are we everything cool here? RMC, thanks. Good. If you punch in a description or introduction for you or anyone else watching, we'll relay that to everyone. Yeah, let's dive right in. I wanted to show how easy it was to get off the ground really quick and easy with Ionic and with Firebase, and so that's the whole crux of it. And you know, as I'm working on this presentation and this new project and stuff, I get sidetracked so much, and it just, you know, I gotta tweak the pixels and make them look good and this and that and try a little shading here and there. And but let me see. So what you need to get started with Ionic and Firebase is, of course, you need to install Node.js. Any development on the web, you're going to need that, the tooling for downloading your packages, managing all the packages. But then you want to globally install the Ionic CLI, command line interface. And so npm install -g for global at Ionic CLI. And then you can see Firebase CLI, same thing, called Firebase tools. Once those are there, then you've got the Ionic command in your shell, in your command prompt. It's there and available. After you install Firebase tools, you get the Firebase command, and we'll use those, and you'll see that tonight. And then VS Code is what I recommend. It's the most supported, and most tutorials use it, and it's got a lot of good tooling and autocomplete and integration, and even Ionic has a plugin written for it. I haven't used it a ton. We're not going to focus on that tonight, but really don't need it too much for what we're doing. So let's get started. Now, these three URLs right here, if you go and you load that on your phone or your computer, I don't see a lot of computers here tonight, but yeah, if you load that, you can follow along. There's a link to these slides which also has links to, I've got the resources at the end with all the URLs to get more information about Firebase and Ionic and other things. So, and then the last one is the app that we're gonna at least halfway build tonight. We'll see how far we get. And I just called it Club. It's a social app, and it's just the beginnings of it. But it has authentication and it has a very simple data store just to get started. All right, and let's look at that to start. Let's see, the easiest way. Yeah, let's just click on that, open it, and then I'm gonna. Well, let me see. You know what? Get a new window here, and you know what? Well, it's even. We're gonna add PWA support to the app, which when you do, I can't zoom this part of it, but there's a little install button right here. So I'm gonna hit that. Has a nice icon. It's got the title correct and everything. I'm gonna hit install, and boom, it installs it to the Mac. Windows, same thing. And I've already sized the window for this for this app. It usually comes out, it's a web app, so it comes out like that. But I size it down to mobile style just for we're focusing on mobile, building mobile apps. Ionic is mobile first framework, but it also supports desktop. Yeah, it's got several extra features that make it responsive for desktop as well. But this app right here, let's see, I'm currently not logged in, and we're going to build all this, but that little icon up there, let me zoom in. I can do that. There we go. So I've got this little icon in the title bar up here that it's clear, so I'm not logged in. I've added Google authentication specifically to this, so it doesn't do email and password. It doesn't do, send me a text number and boom, log in. It doesn't do any of those. But those are all options through the Firebase authentication tooling that we're using. Okay, I'm going to log in. Let's log in Ionic Utah. Okay, and now there's an option here in the settings that, to list yourself in the directory, and so you'll see Ionic Utah listed here, and also has a pull to refresh. So we'll look at doing that. All these other tabs are empty right now. Basically, it's just think about it being a little social app for your group, your club, your family, whatever. As I build this out in the future, I'm going to allow on this main screen, it's kind of going to be the hub where you can create a new group in this app. So this is a meta app for not just one group, but for any groups that you want to create and invite people to. And it will just be scoped to the club, the group that you create. So right now that's the extent of it, but that's the whole point of tonight, is to show how did I get here and how long will it take us to get here. Now I've done some, like I said, I get sidetracked, I get bored, I get stuck on a bug, lots of reasons. I just I start playing with stuff and adding a little metallic to the toolbar at the top, and a little bit of styling stuff. So I did a little bit of that with this. But this name, these little photos and everything, that's coming from Google and from Google Firebase. And yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, the storage. Let's see, let's close that up. So yeah, there's all the access. And if you, I will also post a link to the repo. See, if you go to the repo right here, and you scroll down to the README, it has the links to the slide deck and the running app. So if you get to the repo, and you can search for it by searching for NG Club, which is Angular Club. And my username is Dolthead, Todd Hale. If you scramble the letters, it becomes Dolthead. It's a little self-deprecating fun. But so that's my username, so you'll know you find the right place. And then, like I said, it has all the code, so you can grab it right here. You can fork it and make your own copy and build your own. Just start going crazy with building your own app. with a copy of it. But stop me if you have questions too, and I'll have to look every once in a while back here at StreamYard. Let's see. So RMC is Roberto, front-end developer, currently unemployed, working on a project, creating a chatbot with Llama 2 and React, currently learning React. Excellent. Good to meet you, Roberto. I saw he was RSVP'd in the meetup. Yeah, good. All right, let's dive in and create a new project. So you can do this from any, you can do it from command prompt even if you want. But the CD tilde projects won't work in command prompt. The Windows has its own little thing for finding your home directory. That's what the tilde is. So let's go here, and I'm going to grab a new window and make it a lot bigger here. So I'm in my home directory, and I'm going to go into meetup. Oh, it's not there. Okay. Oh, projects. Sorry. Meetup. And then we're going to start and follow these instructions right here. So I'm going to do an Ionic start command. It's going to ask me a bunch of questions, and those are the answers I'm going to give it. They have this web wizard that'll pop open your browser and give you some choices, but I've found that it doesn't give you all the choices. So it does do some nice things, like you can pick an emoji and it'll set it as the icon for your project and everything. But anyways, we're not going to use the wizard. So we're going to do Angular. It's going to be a standalone project, the name of the project, and Ionic has several built-in starters, and the one that we're using here has tabs on the bottom. It's great UI for mobile apps. So we're going to do that. So let's jump in. Let me make that a little bigger even. All right, how's that? Let's see, Ionic start. Nope, not the wizard. I'm going to pick Angular, and they have React and Vue if you prefer those. React's very popular. Vue, not so much, but it's my favorite. I love the simple. It feels closer to HTML and JavaScript than the others do. Okay, project name. So let's do, I'm going to do these. This is the February meetup. In fact, I'll do February club. I'm going to start with the starter template. There's also one with the side menu. It's got the hamburger menu. There's a blank one. It's just got one page, like a real blank Angular starter or React starter. And then there's a list one, has a nice list on the page. And then my first app I think that has a bunch of things in it. So it's really good to learn all of the different Ionic UI elements. So we're going to go standalone for this one. Shouldn't take too long. After like 10 minutes of doing this at home today, I went and reset the routers and reset all the switches in our house and everything. It was awful. And I did it again. It was like, just like that. 10 seconds, done. I don't know what was going on. Home network. All right, so and it gives you some tips right here too. We got to go into our project directory, do an Ionic serve, and that'll immediately launch the browser and show you your project running. And then when you're ready to go native, which we're not going to do tonight, we're going to focus on the web and a progressive web app. And but when you're ready to go native, then you add capacitor, and then it has tooling to help you build icons and splash screens, because they require lots of different sizes for the different devices. When you submit the App Store, it has to include a whole bunch of icon sizes and splash screen sizes in there. So they're just kind of telling you a little bit of what's available there. All right, so let's go into our Feb club, and we're going to do the Ionic. Actually, before I do that, I'm doing one other thing here. Going to do, and just use NPM if that's what you're used to. I've been using PNPM, alternate package manager, and I like to do an update right off the bat, because that upgrades Ionic Angular, TypeScript, any of those kind of things. And it just, you don't want to be starting with something that's 6 months old. You want the latest, as long as it's all stable and compatible, and update won't pull down any betas or anything like that. So that updated some of our stuff. So now I'm going to launch our project in VS Code by doing code dot. That just says load code, the program, and open up dot the current directory project. So that's this right here. Make this a lot bigger for you. All right, now I'm going to come back here and I'm going to type Ionic serve finally. And we'll see what that gets us. This is the Angular build. It's doing a dev build. And again, I'm going to open my dev tools in Chrome. Let me see. I'm not getting. All right, I'm going to make this bigger for you. And this bigger. All right. So here we've got it running. And you'll notice up at the top, there's a little club icon. That's because I've been running, it's cached on localhost 8100 as the icon, but we haven't set any of that stuff up yet. If I come over to application and I delete all site data and I do a hard reload, there we go. Now we've got the Ionic icon. That's the one that comes with the first project that you have. Okay, that's another tip too. Well, when you're dealing with, especially when we add progressive web app code or the functionality to this button right here works better than these options over here. Reload, hard reload, empty cache, and hard reload. This is the 4th level of reload. It's like clear everything, start over. So you'll lose any cookies for authentication or anything else like that too. Any local settings that you have. But sometimes you got to clear that out because maybe you got some bad data that's messing up your app anyways. All right, let's just load the console. All right, so here's our basic app, and we're trying to get kind of to here. So let's play around. There's 4 tabs down there. Let's do that first. Let's say we know we're going to need 4 tabs. Let's look. So that'll get us into the code. So this Angular project, if you're used to using Angular, this file structure should look very familiar to you. It's the Angular JSON file with a whole bunch of configuration in it and build instructions. TS config for TypeScript, standard package JSON with scripts for building and testing and linting your code, which is just a syntax checker. But this is the moving parts. This is what's deployed with the application. It's Angular, some capacitor, Ionic, and then TypeScript, RxJS zones. So that's Angular stuff. And then these are build tooling. That's all installed with it, but just for dev dependencies. They're just used in the development process, not deployed. But you can ignore. You can pretty much ignore all that. If you're comfortable getting HTML and looking around, if you know how single page applications work, you'll know that the index is kind of just a placeholder, and then there's this app root, and that's where all the magic happens. That's where the Angular, the Vue, the React, that's where they build the DOM and do it all within that space right there. We will be coming in here and doing some things in the index HTML to make it a good progressive web app. I've had issues in preparing for this. I did a standalone Angular project and an ng module Angular project. And when you add Angular PWA, I've got it on the slides and everything, and it installs the package, but it doesn't install the support files. And when you do a production build, it doesn't actually create a progressive web app. There's something wrong, something broke with it. And so we're just going to do a PWA Lite. I've got the files. There's a manifest file. And yeah, and we're going to actually just link it straight in here So we'll talk about doing that. But so this is indexed HTML. That's what's served up in the browser, and then Angular runs and renders our app. But the app right here, this is our main structure. You don't have to look too much at the app component level, but right now there's a tab 1, 2, and 3, and then a tabs component. It's the parent of the tab 1, 2, and 3. And let's see our samples right here. And so the tabs component is basically just the tabs bar down here. But when you click on it, it actually routes to the other the 3 existing pages, tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. Any questions so far? We haven't looked at the code for those yet, but okay. And if you're new to Ionic, when we come in here to a component and we click on tab 1, that's the whole structure of the document. So it's HTML with custom tags, with custom components, and they're mostly Ionic, Ion Dash. If you've done anything with material design, you get an MD or an MAT prefix, building out your apps. Every toolkit's like that. There's a whole bunch of UI toolkits. Again, we're all in on Ionic tonight, but we could have created this project and just brought in material design instead, or we could use Quasar. Quasar is a great mobile first UI. We could start a phaser, and it's tied to Vue actually. We could start a phaser Vue project and then add capacitor or PWA or anything else to that. And but then you would get, like I said, phaser. It's Quasar. Phaser is a different library. So Quasar. So we're all in on Ionic. We're using there. Okay, let's take a quick jump. Again, this is a beginner level. So if you go to the Ionic docs site, you'll notice a nice guide with getting started and a whole bunch of things here specific to Angular, dark mode, all the styling, style sheets, but the components. And if we go back to our project, we're like Ion toolbar. Okay, I want to change the color of the Ion toolbar. So you can scroll down here to toolbar. Click on it, look up its properties, and see, boom, there's a color. And you can use primary, secondary, tertiary, success, warning, danger, you know. Those are all customizable in your theme for your app. Material design does this as well. They have full themes, and most good UI toolkits do. So there's themes with these kind of generic, but they're helpful as you design out your app. You use your call to action buttons. They're always primary color, and you just drop color primary on it, and then your UX team says, "Hey, we got to change that to a burnt orange. That's going to be our primary call to action color." So you just go into the theme, you edit that, and anyways, you got it throughout your app. It's all changed. It's great high level theming. So primary, let's try that. Let's go in here, toolbar, color, primary. Go see what that looks like. Oh, it's right here. Sorry, this time. Boom, blue. So there it is. I'm thinking I'm going to say primary for, like I said, call to actions, really important things. So let's go secondary on the color. So that's going to give us a light blue. Now, again, fully customizable. They have a theme generator on the Ionic site. With a color picker, you can pick those 7 main colors, and then it dumps out the CSS for you. You copy it, you paste it into your theme file, and boom, you're off and running. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole like I did with this example with all my grays and metallics.
What was that? Just the background image?
The metallic? Yeah, it's just a CSS for the toolbar. I just set the toolbar background to a gradient, and it's on an angle. I copied it from a CSS site, like I looked up CSS metallic effect, you know, and I found one. I tweaked it just a little, put it in there. But we're going to stick with just the basics here. So we got our light blue. Now, if you'll notice, tab 2, it's got its own toolbar. It has to be updated. And there's a way to get around that, and that's to go into your global CSS file and define, like I did with that metallic one. I just said, I went to the global file, and I said, toolbar, background, da-da-da. And then I didn't have to put color equals anything on anywhere. But all right, for this, yeah, we don't have time to go into that. So, so let's focus on tab 1. But to create a tab 4, just to show you how simple it is, ish. Okay, I'm going to come and I'm going to right-click on tab 3, and I'm going to duplicate. Is it going to do it? No, I've had issues with that. That's an extension. Okay, I'm going to select this folder and do Control-C, Control-V. That works. And then we're going to change that to tab 4. We're going to open it up. All the files need to be renamed. It's not too bad. And by the way, every page has an HTML and a TS file. That's the code that's running. And then the SCSS file, that's styling specifically for that page. And I'm not going to have it update any references for me because it'll mess up my existing tab 3 references that I still have. So boom, I just changed the names. Now, just got to do a quick thing in here. I'm going to update everything while we're at it. 4, 4, 4. Yeah, search and replace, right? They're a little different, but boom, that file should be done. Oh, we don't have a tab 4 page yet because I have to do this right here to activate that. So you get the red squiggly lines when it doesn't find what it's looking for. I think that's everything there. Oh, right there. Thank you. Yep. Fat fingers here. Okay. So we got that all set. But, okay, now we have our tabs component. And this, here we are. It has 1 tab, 2 tab, 3 tabs. And they're buttons. They're called tab buttons. So I want to duplicate tab 3. We're going to make it tab 4. Oh, and the routing. See, when you're dealing with Angular and any the frameworks, you've got a routing file. So here we go into our tabs routes. And we got tab 1, 2, and 3. Let's, again, duplicate tab 3. And this is adding the route so that the application can route to the page and find it and load the tab 4 module. Okay, I think that's everything. And I've still got this running back here, Ionic serve. It's running an ng start, yeah. What is it, ng serve? I think it's ng serve. Under the hood, it's using that. But so any changes I make, boom, is automatically done down here. So now we've got a tab 4 over there. Now icons are imported. So if we go in, okay, it's right here in tab. Here's the name of the icon, is square. So what we got to do is we got to go to ionicons.com and we got to search for a new shape to put on there. Let's do football. Now let's do a camera. Where's search right there? Camera. Our photos. Photos. I like that photo. I like this double photo one. Image is sharp, and then there's 3 variations called sharp, filled, and outline. So you look at them, you look at what you have, which is right here. They're all filled, and they're rounded. So they're not the sharp ones. Sharp ones have square corners. I mean, very sharp corners. So let's go with, sorry, bouncing around. Let's go with filled, but not sharp. All right, so it's just called images. That's the name of it. Pretty easy. Type out images. Now, I've noticed sometimes that will automatically add the import for this icon, but sometimes it doesn't. So we come over here to, this is our TypeScript file for that template, and we got to add that icon. And it was images, was it? Or just images. All right, so we're doing that. Oh, it didn't add it to the import, but we can hover over this and choose quick fix and import from the icons, and then it adds it up there for us. All right. So if we go back here, there we go. We got our, and let's name them while we're at it too. All right, or at least that one. You can figure out how to edit more names later, but you got to add your pages reference two places. Here we got photos, and then on the photos page itself, tab 4. We're going to leave it named tab 4, but here we're going to change this to photos. Let me clean this up. This is some of the sample stuff it comes with. This App Explorer is a custom component that they throw in here. I'm not going to put anything in there. So now, boom, it's called Photos, and if I go to it, up at the top it says Photos, because I changed it two places. I changed it on the page title itself and down in the tabs where that button is. All right. I'm probably jumping off track here. Let me take a look. Okay, yeah, we did all that. MTM update, we served it. We're running code. We're editing. PWA icons, splash screens. Let's jump into that. That's an important part of an app. I'm just going to grab icons so we don't spend a lot of time on that, or the generation tools, because usually all you have to do is create like one icon, 512 by 512 or something like that, and then a splash screen that's like 3000 by 3000, and then you run a little tool and it creates all the different sizes for you and registers it in your manifest and everything. Pretty slick. Like I mentioned, Angular PWA, it's broken. It's not working. So we're not going to bother running that, but I am going to manually grab a manifest.json, which is required for PWA. It has some of the icon settings and the theme color and title and those kind of things. Things that pop up on the install prompt. So let's do that. Let's grab the icons first. All right, and I'm going to go to boom ng club. And I don't know how to zoom in Finder here, so bear with me. Here's assets. I've got a club SVG and a bunch of icon sizes. And then, I'm going to grab all this stuff in assets. There's an icon folder here. Let's take a look inside there. Oh, that's just got fave icon. That's a browser thing. Whoa, I guess I clicked open. SVGs and everything. All right, I'm trying to just go up another level. Okay, we're going to grab everything in the assets folder. This is in one project. And then go into our meetup, Feb Club, source assets. And I'm going to paste in here and overwrite all that stuff. Replace. Okay, so we've got all these icons now. And even the little fave icon is a little club. You can see that a little bit, real tiny. Yeah, we can talk after if you want to learn how to build icons, or you can ping me sometime. But those are the icons we need for this. Now let's also go back. Let me get another folder here because I want to keep this open. ng club. Okay. Because I also want the manifest. That's our PWA manifest. And it's up one more. No, it's not up one more level. It's inside source. We have index. Sorry, that's loud. It's my hourly alarm. It's 7 o'clock. Terminator is here. All right, so there's our manifest. It's in the source directory. So we're gonna go find our source directory. That is it right here. Paste it in. And now I've already got my old project open, the index.html specifically. I'm going to copy, there's some icon settings and then a manifest setting that says, I'm going to use this manifest. So let's go here to our project. Let's look at that manifest, and you'll see it's named Club. Let me see, what did we call it? Feb Club. Let's just leave it named Club. Standalone. These are colors that you can set. I don't know exactly how they're used. They're probably used a little differently by Safari versus Chrome versus whatever, but they're used in presenting your app. And then there's several modes for display. These are all just settings, but you'll want to just grab this default. It's very simple. I've only got 3 icons in here. You could put up to 10 or 20 different sizes. This is just the basic to get going. That's all we need. So let me flip over to, like I said, this is my other project, ng Club, because I've already spent the time to get the index HTML. And basically, this block right here is new. Everything else is already in an Ionic project to begin with. You already have, well, you'll notice the title is updated because in our title, let me close a few windows. Okay, in our title, right here, it still says Ionic app. So let's change that to Club because that shows up on the browser. We want that. And then, like I said, all this other stuff is already there all around it. But this right here, this block is what's new that we're adding. It's a few more icon definitions. It's the manifest link. That enables the installability. We don't even have a service worker running. If you've done progressive web apps, service worker's been a requirement. So this is a PWA Lite, I called it. We're not doing the service worker for this, so it doesn't have the full asset installability, background, offline, all these different things that a PWA can do. This is the very basic. And so let's copy that and go into our index and let's see, fave icon. Let's put it right here in the middle. And that should be all we need to do because I've used the same paths, assets, and then the name of the files for the different sizes. Now let's go see what's going on in our app here. So if I do a reload, oh, what we got? We got a problem. Manifest JSON not found. All right, that probably just means sometimes when you add new files to a project, you just got to restart the serve on it. No, it's still not finding manifest.json. Okay, I have not had this issue. Let me see. It's right here, right there next to it. But I haven't done a production build. It's probably running a little bit out of the production directory. Ionic build -- prod. Let me do one of those. Make sure. A production build is always more type safe checking. You could be working in dev mode, not have any errors in your console or in the build, but then when you do a production build, you might see some. But that's done now. And let's go back to, this is dev mode, Ionic serve. Bring it back up in the browser, and I'm going to do, you know what? In fact, let's go to that application tab, clear site data, and then do a hard reload, which I'm doing Shift Command R when it has no manifest. That is too weird. Haven't seen this anywhere else. All right, but let's move on. And I know when we deploy to Firebase, which we're going to do, that'll be shipped out with it. Oh, or will it? Maybe that's it. Sometimes you have to go in to a config file. I think I had to do this. and tell it to include that extra file. Is it Angular JSON index.html? Oh, click on search, and that search is the wrong thing. All right, so here's index assets. Yeah, that's what I had to do. Star input, output, assets. Okay, I'm gonna go look at any other project because this is where it is, Angular JSON. And I had to tell it to also include that in the build. Goodness, struggling. All right. Right there. So under assets, under that block definition, I need to tell it to include manifest.json in the build and deploy. That's right. That's right. So just put a comma here, hit paste, save, and let's see if that's enough to do it, if we have to restart anything. Okay, we're going to have to restart. I'm going to go back here because that will, I think we'll pick up the angular.json that we just configured. It always launches a new window, and I just close it and go back to my old window. Hey, there's no more error down there. That means we have good options. And look at over here. We actually, running on our local machine, we have an install button now. All right, and how does it look? Looks good. It's got a good icon. It's got the name. And if we install it, developer tools, turn that off. There it is running in its own window. And this happens on all OSs, side note, tangent, but it treats it like an app. If I do a command, this is the launcher for Mac, and I type club, it's going to come up as an available application on this machine. Now, I'm going to uninstall it just to get us back into development mode. And let's get our tab back open, developer tools. All right. Yeah, we're back in development mode now. So we added a manifest.json with just a little bit of data to our index. We added it to the build file so that it will pick it up and deploy it. Now, where do we want to go here? Let's see. Let's look at our slides. Okay, update our main title, our manifest. Yeah, we've done all that. Again, we're skipping over the Angular PWA. We'll have to circle back and catch that another time when it's working, because that's a whole nother level of features that are available when you have a service worker running and you're a true PWA. Okay, let's set up Firebase hosting first. All right, and we're going to do this. You're going to do a Firebase login. So probably the first thing you'll have to do before you do any of that is go to Firebase console, firebasegoogle.com, and log in with a Google account. And you don't even have to add any new projects here. It'll do that for you from the command line. But this is where you manage your projects. And this is an MTech account, so you'll see we hit 161. It's from all our teacher projects, I should say. Teaching every cohort, building apps and using Firebase to host them. But yeah, these are the main ones for me. But let's create an because if you'll notice when we started out, we ran this right here, and this is running on, and it tells you here in the little ... more button, it's running on clubhail.web.app. It's important to know it's going to give you a publicly accessible URL for free. I mean, if you get if your hits get really high and downloads get really high, they'll start charging you. But you know, for any project you're doing like this, or proof of concept, or MVP, it's going to be free. I've never had to pay anything for all the little tinkering I've done with Firebase hosting with Google Cloud. So this is hosted on a site. So keep that in mind, because when we pick our project ID, yeah, this is different than what we have an app name already, or ours is Feb Club, just for February meetup. That's our project. This is our Firebase hosting ID. And you want to pick one that is going to be unique. If I jump in there and I type club or Twitter clone or something like that, it's probably going to say, it's already taken. People use it for all these kinds of proof of concept projects or tutorials, and stuff's going to be taken. So I throw my name on it just to get past that. So let's go to the command line. Let's stop. That's the server running. And we're going to do, I'm already logged in, Firebase login. Yeah, it says you logged in as T-Hale at MTech. So I'm going to do the other instructions. It says Firebase init. So I need, this project is currently a web project and knows nothing about Firebase or Google Cloud or anything. We're going to change that right now. Firebase init. And it's going to be a lot like that Ionic start command. We got to choose what we want. We only need two things. Again, it's on the slides. You choose Firestore and hosting. So I'm going to use my arrow key, hit the space bar, and then choose the first hosting options, because it's the other one will walk us through a bunch more questions about GitHub Actions and CI/CD automatic deployment stuff. That's a cool thing. We'll have to do that another time. So I use the space bar to hit those. Now I hit enter to proceed. It's kind of a weird interface there, but okay, use an existing project. No, this is a brand new project. All right, I'm just going to call it Feb Club, same as my Angular Ionic project. And I'm going to go ahead and keep that for both. It's for the unique project ID and for the URL. This will take a minute. Please hop up and grab some more food. In fact, you guys want to take like a 5 or 10 minute break? We're about halfway through, but do you guys need a break? Raise your hand if you want a break. All right, let's take at least 5-minute break. We'll just start when everyone's back. All right, let me check our online just to see if there's any, no further questions. All right. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Any questions about what we're doing so far? Probably a lot of questions, but where do you start? Everything's free that I've used so far. All the tooling. It's open source. License. Yes, it's on YouTube. Yeah, and over the next couple of days, I'll go in and I'll trim the edges, because I had a bunch of time leading up to when we started and all that. So I'll trim that off.
So if I want to follow it next time.
Yeah. Yep.
The link is in the meetup.
Yeah. Well, not yet. I haven't put it in the meetup yet, but it's on GitHub. Yeah, the NG Club is the name of the project that I already did. So NG, if you look for NG Club, it has links to the slides and the running app.
And then the reason why you use Angular instead of Vue is kind of easier. Well, Vue, I think Vue is closer to HTML, and at least the JavaScript side of it's a lot closer. Just because it's the most common that we cover here in the meetup, but everything's very similar. I could duplicate these slides and maybe change 2 slides, and the rest of it's the same. The code just looks a little different. There's only 1 file in each directory instead of 4. So in each of these each of these components right here usually have 4 files. Usually there's 6 files. If you do an Angular module-based project, there's 6 files in every folder, because it also includes a module file and a routing file in every module. And it's kind of overkill. And that's why they've gone to a standalone option. So there's 2 routing files. There's a global routing file, which routes into tabs by default. And then the tab route takes over from there and says,
Yeah. If I recognize these paths, but if it's just tabs by itself, then it automatically forwards to the first tab. That's all the routing entails. It's pretty simple. It's very similar in Vue. Seems like it's similar in React too. But there's, okay, so I was saying in Vue, you just have one file. It's tabs.vue. And inside the tabs view file, you have 3 sections. And they're optional. You know, if you need them, you have a template for HTML, script, and then the CSS, yeah, whichever the style. So I just think it's a lot cleaner. It encourages you a lot more to component everything, you know, to break it down. That makes it real easy to break things into reusable components, in my opinion. Lighter weight, you know, it's a mental load. It's a cognitive load to look over here in the file tree and to see so much. And Vue just, you know, it just breaks that down. I just feel like it's, for my brain, it's a lighter cognitive load. All right, wait another couple minutes. Any other questions you have about the code we've done so far? Here's the theme file. It's in the theme folder, variables.scss. I mean, it doesn't just define primary, it defines a bunch, what's the best contrast for that primary color, and then the RGB version of both of those, and then 2 compatible slightly darker shades, or I think one's lighter and one's darker. Tint I think is lighter, and yeah, 4 is lighter than 38, 44C, and 31 is darker. So it gives you 2 complementary similar shades. And so anyways, all right, Arlie's back. I think got everybody. So again, Ionic has a generator, a theme generator on their site that you just go with a color picker and pick the primary, secondary, tertiary, and it does all of these other derivatives for you and lets you just copy and paste it right into here. Something else I'll note, they've got 2 things that are really great that are included now in your default project. One is dark mode. So if I flip on dark mode, boom, it's going to go dark and kind of invert things. And yeah, it's really pretty slick. Oh, it looks like it broke something in the routing or something. Or maybe I'm just not running, I think. We're not running our server because we're doing Firebase stuff. All right, won't worry about that. Okay, so error, it looks like you haven't used Cloud Firestore in this project before. I opted in on Firestore. That was one of my options, hosting and Firestore. It says you need to go out to the tooling. So I'm going to command click on this. Some tooling lets you command click on the URL. I'll take you there. I got to copy and paste. All right, so it's just telling us. In fact, let's go back to light mode. Or you guys want to stick with the dark mode? Is that easier on your eyes? You like it? Okay. All right. Let's see if I can get around in dark mode. Let me see. I usually keep a couple of my apps in dark mode and the rest of them in light mode. Okay, so we got to go to Firebase console. Get a new tab. I copied the URL that it told us. It's going to come in here. Oh, I'm logged in. I've got to switch to my MTech. If you got multiple Google accounts, you're going to have to do this kind of stuff. So I just switched over, and now I'm in my Fed Club. If you can see, it does say I'm in the Fed. If you go to your main Firebase homepage, boom, here's all your projects. So boom, I'll click on that one. And it's telling me I need to add a Firestore database. So boom, create database. And location, Let's go for, isn't there a Denver or something? Salt Lake City. All right. Can't change that later. Just like AWS. Database ID. Yeah, we don't need to do that, right? Okay. Production mode has the access locked down. I'm going to start in test mode, which automatically expires in 30 days because it doesn't have read and write access on the database, which you want. So that's another side thing you have to learn. There's just a simple little rule you put in there to say, hey, whenever this user is writing, he can only access his tree of the data, because this is a document database. Firestore is. It's a NoSQL. And so only let them access their branch of this big tree of document store. We're skipping that for tonight. All right. So boom, we've got it created. That looks like we're done. I don't think I need to do anything else here. I'm going back to this and let's look at our slide to see where we're at. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a couple more questions that didn't ask us. Let's run that again. All right. Firestore, hosting, enter, and it is an existing project now. Web club, and boom, good. What file do you want to use for Firestore rules? So you can do those in TypeScript or JSON or something and put them in your code repo. So it's really nice that they let you do that instead of just typing them on their website. Firestore indexes, yeah, we're just doing all defaults. Public directory. Now with Ionic, you got to switch this to www. That's their Angular default build directory. Okay, that's in the slides right there, www. Single page app, yes. Overwrite index, no. Single page app, yes. Set up automatic builds and deploys with GitHub, no, not yet. Index already exists, overwrite, no. Boom, that's done. So we are now set up as, now if we do this, we do a production build, because Firebase deploy always deploys your latest build. If you have that, if you do a build, production build, and then you find some bugs or you're working on new things, and you do a bunch of stuff, and you think, oh, it's Firebase deploy, push it all out. It's going to push out the last time you did a production build, because that build is still sitting there in the www directory. So always do Ionic build prod before you do the Firebase deploy. And I just put it together in one command like that with the ampersands. That lets you run two commands at once. And if it errors out on the build, it won't do the deploy. Pretty slick. So it's done with the build up there. This is the deploy part. Boom, it's done. So it's saying if I go to febclub web.app, that this pretty simple lame app is deployed out there, and there it is. So it is out here running. We got our tabs, and all right. So the hosting is done. Let's go back to our slides and see the hosting is done. Again, this is a different name here. We did Feb Club, so that's the name of our site and our Firebase ID. Now we're going to add login. So we got to go to our console, and we have to go to the authentication section, sign-in methods, and add Google to it. So let's go do that. That's right here. Make that a little bigger. So we're looking around. Let's see. Build authentication. There it is. Authentication. We get a bunch. Oh, get started. All right. Sign-in methods right there. None by default. I'm just going to click on Google. And I don't need, enable Google right there. You can turn it on and off. Anytime your project is live, you're having an issue with one of the auth providers, you can come in and disable it. And yeah, you have to do something in your code to also check and see if it's enabled and disabled if you're going to support turning this on and off, but you just turn it on, leave it on. It's going to be there. I put an email in here. Requires an email. And then here's my, oh no, yeah, hit save. I turned on the Google authentication. I hit save. And boom, that's available. And that's all we need to do in here. They have multi-factor authentication. You can turn that on, upgrade to enable. Yep. It's all there. Now, there's something that we need. Let me see what the slides say about this. Let's see. Okay, we need to install Firebase into our project and Angular Fire. That's a nice wrapper to use Firebase. Really nice. So I'm going to run this command, and it's the same as doing npm install Firebase, npm install Angular Fire. We're just doing 2 packages in one. So I'm going to do that. Give that a minute while that's running. Next, we got to add the Firebase setup code to our main TS. Now, they give you, there's a bunch of IDs and stuff for your app to access your database. And this is all going to be part of, I mean, it's online recording and everything. So what I've got to do after we do this tutorial is I've got to go in and disable the Firestore. Basically, that's the only place that I could, if someone, because someone else could abuse it. After this is on YouTube on live, because I'm going to be grabbing the credentials live. So I'll have to go in and disable that after that, or someone will scrape it and find it and could tap into it and run my bill up. What's that? You already did it. You're on it. Yeah. So the Firebase setup code, there's a configuration object that you get, and it's in this gear icon. That's what I always remember. So I go to project settings, and I scroll down and look for these icons. We need to set up a web app, which really doesn't do anything except for give you that configuration that you need. So web club. No, I already got hosting. Just register this. Yeah, and this is just to get to the next step that gives us the keys and everything that we need. So we've got Firebase. Here is our magic block right here, Firebase config. So I'm going to grab that, copy that, and then go to our code. So usually what I do is I come, let me look at my other project here. Because Angular supports these environments. So I've got the environment TS and an environment prod TS. So I'm going to go in the same place here, environments, environment TS, and I'm going to add Firebase config. I like to call it that. And then I've got some extra stuff here. I already had that. So that is what we need. And then no semicolon with that. This is comma delimited JSON object. Boom, that's everything. So I saved that. Now I need to do this in both environments. Otherwise, the production build will fail and say, where's my Firebase config object? You need to have both these environments with the data in there. Okay, oh, sorry, I'm jumping around. Okay, now, but that just makes that data accessible to us. We're going to go into the main TS and work now. And again, I'm going to jump over and copy the code. I grabbed this from another example from somebody else, their main TS. Oh, in fact, yeah, I have some blocks in my notes, but no, yeah, let's just get it from here. So initialize, auth, Firestore, environment. And we've already got the environment coming in. So basically what I need is I need to add these 3 lines, which are Firebase related configuration. And then these 3 lines, which activate that functionality installs it into your app. Really slick, really nice. Boom. That's all you got to do. All right, so I'm going to do that. Let me close my file manager so we can see all this. I like to copy this way. Go 3 lines, switch over, paste, and let me close this too. So boom, we're importing all those. Have I run the, I ran the install. What did it, errors. Can't have errors. Matches. That is very curious. Huh, we'll have to look at that in a minute. All right, so let's just finish configuring this, even though we don't have what we need yet. In fact, you know what? I might need to just keep these commented out for a minute because they can't find those packages because they haven't been installed. So I just commented that out while we get to debug this strange beast. I still connected, student. By the way, the Wi-Fi, if you haven't already gotten on, is student network, and that's the password. Rethink education. I really got to dig in a log. Oh, PNPM. I'm copying the npm command, but I've been using the PNPM for this project. Ionic has a configuration setting that I've set globally to say, anytime you do an Ionic add something, do something, serve something, use PNPM instead of npm. And so I've already set that. And let's see, cross your fingers. PNPM should work. And if you're all npm, then just ignore that. npm will work for your project. All right, boom, that's in. Good. Let's go to our editor and uncomment those. Import providers from that. We don't have that yet, so let's import that from Angular. All right, that added it up here for us in the imports. Let's look at our slide. Look for further directions here. Firebase setup code domain. We are now set up for Firebase authentication. All right. So now we got a code. You know, we got to give them a button on the UI to say log in with Google. And it's so easy to do that. That's what we're going to do. What are we at? 7:30? Yeah, this was about the time I was planning on wrapping up. Anybody need to take off right away? You need to take off. Well, it's on YouTube. But I'm going to go ahead and keep going if others are interested, because it probably just another, we'll do it quick. I'll breeze through it quickly, and then I can stay for question and answer and stuff. All right, so yeah, let's go to the next slide. Add login and logout. Firebase auth comes with sign in with pop-up. So we're going to use that on tab 1. Let's add a login button. Again, we're going simple and oh wait, that's tabs. I want tab 1 actual page here. All right, and I'm taking out this extra stuff. It comes with the default project. I'm just going to throw a button in here. Ion button. And we're going to say login with Google. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a expand. I always expand equals block. It's some of the options. If you go to the Ion button documents, you'll see that you either have just a regular small button that's responsive and small, or block means make it mobile, make it go all the way across the screen. And then we gotta tell it what to do here with a click handler on the button. Close that up. We'll say when they click, we're gonna do login with Google. All right, and it says I don't know about what that is, because we haven't done it. Now I've got my notifications turned on. Still coming through. All right, so login with Google. All right. Console log in with Google. All right, now we're going to drop in here. What was the name of that function? Sign in. Let's copy and paste it. All right, boom. Sign in with pop-up. Now we have to import this from Firebase auth, and it is that one. It's that base import. Now it's saying, you need some parameters. What do we need? Expected 2 to 3 arguments. We need auth object and a provider object. Okay, there's samples that have that all built for you. I just have a sample right here sitting next to us. So we need an auth and a provider. So let's define those right there. Just define them as local variables. So let's do all of our imports. I've got to make sure I had some weird stuff going on. There's an auth somewhere else. So you got to make sure you're picking the right one there. Inject. Oh, come on. Inject it's just Angular core. It's supposed to come up with where they're coming from. Okay, good. We got that. So now we've got those two things. So right here, we're going to pass auth and provider. That's all we called it? Yep, provider. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys. I guess it is getting late. This is the guy that wants it. Sign in with pop-up requires 2 parameters. All right. Auth. Where's our sign in with auth? Right there. This, Angular. It's Angular, people. You have to do this, .auth. So that references those 2 local variables. Okay, we added those 2 objects, imported them, call sign in. Let's just try it and see where we're at with it. I think that's all we need to do to get it running. So this is our dev. Oh, we don't have the server running, do we? So Ionic serve. Always opens a new tab. Then we know it's ready. Bonk. Go back to this one. Refresh. Log in with Google, big and ugly, but we just need it for our example here. So I'm going to click on that. Look at that. Pops this up. I'm going to say log in with my MTech right here. And it's telling me, well, it wants to know your name, email address, language, profile picture. Is that okay? Yep. All the rights checking. Nothing happened with the app. Or did it? I am now authenticated. If you go, it has a bunch of stuff behind the scenes here. We're in the application tab. We're going to go down to session storage, I think. Nope, it's down under shared storage, index DB. I forget. Oh, there we go. Firebase local storage DB. Firebase local storage. It does. So there's some of our auth data in there. Firebase heartbeat. That's something it does to maintain a connection to the database or something. But there's our auth information. If you scroll through it, it's got our username and our email and a URL to our photo. And that it's working. We are now authenticated. Now, as a programmer, I have to go in when that authentication is done and change the UI and maybe switch it to a logout button. So let's do that real quick. All right, so I'm going to say we have this auth object. I happen to know let's do an ngIf equals, we're going to say if auth.current user, if there's a current user defined, which means we're logged in. Yeah, it's kind of a shortcut. If we're logged in, if we're not logged in, show the login button. I just did a duplication, and we're going to say if we are logged in, log out Google, and we'll just say log out here. Now let's go look at our, oh, wait, logout Google's not recognized, of course. Let me just throw it on here. Logout Google. All right, boom. So I'm just gonna throw it on there. What is that saying? Oh, NGF. It doesn't know about NGF. Anybody know offhand how to get that? I think we come up here and we go NGF. No, it's not in core. It's in common module. Something you got to do. Let me go back and look at, because I think we have to go into our app. No, main TS. Do I have commons module? Nope. Not defined there. I had to add it somewhere. No, just down where I use it, I guess. So here in tab 1, we let's look right here where we're imports. Oh, there's NGF, NG4, and they from Angular Common. Okay, I guess that's all we need right there. That is that line. Let me copy that. Again, this is just in the tab 1 TS. We need to import that. So let me paste. And we have to import it as well. Didn't used to have to do that. Move this unused. No, it takes a minute to catch up. Should be caught up now. Should be running now. Let's go back and look at this. Yeah, built successfully. Log in with Google. Auth should be set. Oh, boom. Took a second. I think we had to do something to re-render, but there's things you can do to trigger that authentication check and trigger a re-render of your page. And I've got that in my final project. Back to let's go look at that a little bit. So okay, now we have a logout button. So what happens is, okay, nothing happens yet because we haven't programmed that. So let's go over and look what we did in this other project. I've got a logout. Tab page 1. No, the logout is in a pop-up. I did it in a, that's right, it's in settings page. I did a logout button on a kind of a user settings page. So if we go down, we have a logout. And so if you do this auth sign out, now what am I doing? I'm just going to do the sign out, but look what I'm doing after it. For a good app, you're going to tell the user with a toast, that's a little pop-up message. Logged out successfully, show for 5 seconds. I mean, that takes 4 lines to do one little toast. But anyways, and then that was inside of a mobile. And if you log out, then it closes that user settings because you're no longer logged in. But we're just going to call that that right there, sign out. Okay, let's see what that does with our app. So again, I'm going to reload. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click on this, and because it's in a weird state, I don't have all my UI smoothly wired, but hit log out. Boom, it switches it to login. And if we go back and look at this data, there will be something to indicate that we are logged out. Somewhere in here, we don't have to look at it, but it'll tell you if it is logged in or logged out. But it does it. We don't have to worry about it. And then it gives us a login prompt again. Log in. I'm going to log in as MTech user. And boom, switches to logout. So right here, you can ignore that. Yeah, it doesn't happen when you deploy it out. It happens sometimes in dev. So got log in, log out. And not going to be able to go into data storage. What I did on this other sample app, the code's out there for you to look at, NG Club on GitHub. When you log in and it comes back from the login, it takes the user data. Firestore has a special place with its auth package where it stores all the users, but we do not have access to that. Meaning I can't go look up all the users in that table. When I'm logged in, T-Hale and MTech, and I do a query on that users table, I get back my user, even though there's 10, 100, 1,000, because it has rules in place that says he can only access his user data. So what do you have to do? You have to create your own storage. You take the data you want, because I just want their name, their email, and the URL to their photo. That's all I want for this app. And so what I do is I have in that current user that we are using to see if it's defined or not, if we're logged in that object, there is those exact things: display name, email, and photo URL. And so as soon as they log in, I take that data, I check and see if there's already an entry in my user data table, not the user's auth list, my own user data storage table, and I store it there. And the code is there to do that. And yeah, we can go and look at some of that, but it's back in the main tab here. That's why this ended up being so long, is because there's certain things you want to do after they log in or after the whatever. So what I do is, after they sign in successfully, there's two handlers here. You say, then do this, or there's a comma, or if an error. So this is a typical promise. The second function down here is if there's an error, present the error message. But the first thing, if they log in, we open user settings, which is a modal. We tell them that they logged in successfully. And where do we create the data? Where do we create the data? I thought it was right there. This is where we list the data. So it must be in the settings page. So yeah, because once they log in, I take them to the settings page and pop that open with all their information. And it says, okay, we're going to do a query for this user's ID. And if we find it, then we grab that data and store it into our settings variable. Okay, if it's in the database. If it's not, well, we're going to take our default settings, this.settings, which is this. This is what we store in the database. Okay, we have 4 options that are Boolean flags. Let other people see their name, allow people to chat, invite, or tag you in a photo. Again, this is just future thinking, just for stuff. And so if you let's look at that. Oh, actually, it's open right here. So if I click on this right here and open that settings, here I've got all that stuff is stored in my user data table. I've got a URL to their avatar. I've got, this is the display name, and this is their email address. And then I've got 4 Boolean flags. And the fact that I check that box means, boom, I will show up here on the main page in the list of users. If I don't, if I go take that off, it updates the database immediately. And if I refresh this, pull to refresh, wait for it, it requeries the database and Ionic Utah. No, wait, who am I logged in as? Yeah, Ionic Utah. Let's do it one more time. There it is. Okay. Somehow it did a text select. If you were on a mobile device, it wouldn't try to select the text and stuff. But so now I said, take me off the public list. And so it's gone. So all that is done. There's the object that's going to be stored in the database. It's called settings. And I say, if it already existed, then grab the data and store it, hold on to it in the app. Otherwise, we got this user from the auth current user, and it has a display name that we're going to keep, the photo URL, the ID, we also needed that, and where's the email? Why don't we get the email? I'll look into that. And then we add doc and we store it to the database. This is a new user. We didn't find them on a lookup. Put them in our user storage table. And then anytime they check a box, one of those permissions, it calls save settings every time. It's an auto save, no save button on the screen. So I just do save doc, to my database, to my user data collection table. I call it table. It's not SQL. And then I pass the ID that I got. Yeah, current doc ID. It's up here where I looked it up. It's part of that. And then I pass the new settings to store, to update it. Close the modal. That's when we're in right here. If I'm in the modal, we can hit X to close it. And that's also, I said, where I put the logout code is in that settings. And then this page does a query and builds a list from the database. So that's the only data store I have so far right now. So very basics. We do authentication. We save some of that user data when they log in and put it into our own collection so that we can make it available to others if granted. So let me see. Let's go to our slides just to see logout. We did a logout on the main page. We didn't display the user settings. Add the user data collection. We haven't done that yet, but we don't have time. List the users that are saved. And then here's a bunch of links, resources on things that I was going through to help me with the sample code. And yeah, any final questions? Check here, nothing new on the live stream. Uh-huh.
It checks what application is accessing it, because we have done in Firebase that this is the application.
Yeah, my config defines, it says, yeah, this is the app. So when it talks to Firebase, it passes all that data for your app. And it's all in that. Yeah. Yep.
So then it gives that
Mm-hmm.
access to
Yeah.
user.
Yep. In fact, just to be true to what I said here, I'm going to go close out of that, and I'm going to go to the Firestore. And yeah, I'm just going to go in. I don't want to delete it, or just want to access.
Developer do not know who is accessing or how many are accessing.
Okay, well, authentication right here. Actually, it's a good question. It does show right here which users have authenticated, signed in, signed up, registered. It lists everyone right here. So you have access in the panel here on the console, but not in the app. The app can't read that data. Now I was going to go to the database and disable it. Easiest way is just to do, let's just expire it. Anything greater than 1/28, January 28th. Okay, publish. Anyways, that's just the code we're doing tonight. The actual one, which I haven't clicked on that file and shown it during my live stream anytime. I'm checking. Yeah, so that still works. It's still open. It's not locked for writing. So yeah, I just disabled I'll read and write to my database just because I am on YouTube. And all those credentials in the config right here. Again, you scroll down to the web. Wow. No, okay, I've already clicked on it, so it's open. Yeah, all that data right there is sensitive, and you don't want to let it be public. When I commit this to GitHub, it has to be a private repo. And or if you do like you did, like I did, and I put this project, the other project, NG Club, I just deleted it out of the file and put your credentials here, and committed that. And now I have uncommitted changes while I work on it because I have the actual properties in. All right. Well, good. Gone extra long. Any other questions like that? What's that? I want to follow along in the YouTube. Yeah. Do you? You're saying we need to continue. No, I mean I need to follow along the YouTube. Yeah, go back and watch it and follow along. Yeah. yeah, it's all there. And if you get stuck on any steps, let me know. The slides kind of show everything, but not the slides don't tell you like, oh, where do I go in Firebase to find this Firebase config that I need in my project, and where to put it, because I threw it into the environment, you know, and all of that. But all of that example is in NG Club repo, just without the sensitive project data. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, you bet. And a lot of people didn't show up, so please take a sandwich home. And there's a few stickers back there too, and Ionic, and make sure if you have a chance, thank Ionic for the food. They do pay for the food. So it's well, it's out of Madison. Madison, Wisconsin. And they've been bought out by OutSystems, which I think is primarily out of Europe, but it's a global company. But yeah, their headquarters still out of Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah. All right, let's stop the end the stream. And good, thank you. Good presentation. Like the way you presented it. Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah, you use the repo because it's complete. And thank you. Close.